Hey, we're gonna hit you with the bars real quick. Hey, quarantine life, but my flow still sick. If I had a maid, I have a make you lemonade. And I don't need to get laid, so don't be afraid. Girl, I get paid, but I'm in pain. Kinda like Wayne, first name Bruce. Where the hell's that made with the goddamn juice? Every day's the same, deja vu. Bring in the wine, yeah, bring in the Zans. Pump up my songs, yeah, let's do a dance. You the kind of girl that made me cancel my plans. You the only girl that let her pay for OnlyFans. Driving. Another episode, guys. Another episode. I don't know what number it is because I still have 2 other podcasts that I've pre-recorded and need to edit and upload. So I don't know what's going on. I am busy though. It's cool. I'm not complaining. Busy is better than bored. I'm happy to get this work. And today we've got another person who I haven't met, but is a comic. He's from the San Jose area. I think his name is Adron Duell. Duell. Sounds like Duell with a W, but it's spelled Duell. So I've got some coffee. Got my water. Just woke up. It's fucking 8:13 in the morning. And we're going to do this. We're going to shoot this. We're going to learn something today. The goal is to learn something today. So let's give this man a call. All right. Should be answering because we were just on with him earlier. This coffee's good. I'm kind of in a fasted state. It's been about 9 or 10 hours since I last ate. But now we got this coffee with how much sugar's in this? Wow, these have some protein. I was looking at an old picture of myself, and I was fucking yacked. Hey, there he is. How's it going? Can you hear me? We can't hear you on this side unless you're not saying anything. Aw, shit. It was just working. We gave him a test call earlier. But now we don't hear nothing. Mr. Adron, are you here? Are you present? Maybe we'd have to give you a call back. Audio call join. What the hell? This is him. Are you there, sir? Headphones not connected or something? Maybe I gotta give him a call back. I'm gonna give you a call back. I don't know if you can hear me. Message me if you can hear me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna give you another call. All right. Hey, week. Got some animals. Got some. I woke up with a throbbing boner, dude, and I just. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. There we go.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. That's funny. Had a test one and it was working, and then you come in. Could you hear me the first time?
Not at first, and then out of nowhere I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me. It was so weird.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. This podcast is haunted. I don't know. Thanks for reaching out, man. Thanks for reaching out to do this. You are. I've been busy. I've been having a lot of people on, been having a lot of fun, interesting conversations. And before I got on, I kind of just made the goal right now. I was like, with this, however long I'm talking to you, my goal is to learn something. Like, I'm hoping that you could just teach me something. And I mean, maybe I could share something with you. But I want to, when I turn this podcast off, I want to change my life. I want something that I'm going to learn and it sticks with me forever. I think that's what this show is about at this point. I don't know.
I mean, that's a coincidence because I had the exact same goal. I want to learn something today. I want to get a new experience.
Fuck yeah.
I want my life to be changed. Yeah, all right?
What, man, I got so many questions, dude. Like, first of all, how old are you?
I'm like 28.
Oh, dude, me too. My birthday's in 2 weeks, and today's October 1st. So, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. You lived in San Jose most of your whole life?
Yeah. Up until I was like 18 and a little bit after college, I lived in like San Jose, um, like South San Jose for most of my childhood life. And I lived. It was like I lived in Maryland, then we moved to San Jose when I was like 4. Lived there most of my life, and then just kind of bounced around California after that, and somehow ended up in LA.
Huh.
Yeah.
You
What
said
about you?
you said you lived in Maryland until you were 4?
Yeah, my dad got like a new job and lived there for a while, and then my mom didn't like being away from her family, so we all moved back to San Jose.
Oh.
And I was just confused the entire fucking time. I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, because I joined a kindergarten, like right in the middle of the year, and everyone was like trying to analyze me and asking like, why is he so shy around like other kids? Why can't he do things? Maybe he had literally someone thought I had autism
Yeah.
because I wasn't interacting with anyone. And my dad's like, at any point did you think it's because he just moved across the country?
Yeah, fucking assholes. Oh man, I've been to Maryland. Not the biggest fan, and I know a guy.
Yeah.
I've got an internet buddy who's from there, and the streets is tough, dude. I was watching him on his Snapchat. He pulled a big ass fucking rat off the ground, like by the tail, and it was like as big as a fucking cat, like it was nothing. And like the other day, I was over here screaming and hollering because a little mouse the size of like my palm was wandering around my house.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, I go outside and I see, rats scurry out of like bushes and shit, and I'm like, oh shit, a rat. And then like my buddy calls me from like New York or something, and just shows me a picture of a rat like the size of his fist. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and then the rent is still $3,000 a month out there.
Right. Well, you got to make room for the rat, you know?
Yeah, I think they got a documentary on Netflix about rats. It's like serious problem in New York, and it's like I saw a video yesterday actually of I guess the subway in New York is just like flooding or leaking, and people are trying to say like the infrastructure is like everything's all wrong, shit's fucked up over there. I don't know. What like I always tell people, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but it's like when you go to anywhere in the world or a different state in the country, you always kind of have like your first impression the moment you hop out the airport. Once you leave that airport or once you get off the plane and even you're in the airport, the only place and it was like New York. There's like one time for like 2 weeks I was in like the East Coast, but I went to New York airport, and the first thing that came to my mind when I left the airport was like, holy shit, what is that smell? Like it just smells so bad, and I guess everybody's nose blind to it, but that was a thing that caught me off guard. But every time I come back, like Oakland or San Francisco, the weather is just so refreshing. Like I never go somewhere and think I could move out of here. You know, I could go somewhere else. Hold on one second. There's distractions. I gotta get this dog out of here. Hold on. Get out. Go.
Fucking dog.
Go. You're not part of this podcast. All right. Well, what about you? Like, I mean, would you ever leave California? Do you have any other states in mind?
I'm not sure really. Like for a bit, I was thinking of like either moving to New York or like maybe I have a few friends in Europe, and they asked me when I first moved out here, they asked me like, do you like Shakespeare? Do you like doing that shit? I'm like, yeah, I like performing Shakespeare and stuff. It's fun. And they said like, you should apply to the Globe in London. You should apply to like be a fellow there or something, because they're always looking for American actors. I'm like, what? I never ended up doing because like shortly after that the pandemic happened. But
Mm.
like I was like it was such an interesting thing, and I'm like, why is that? And they're like, it's a small island, dude. We don't got that many actors. um, so I mean, yeah, I never. It's hard because like the only big places to move as far as like comedy, acting, like all that stuff is like LA and New York are always the two big ones.
Yeah.
And then every time I talk to someone about like, well, maybe I should do Chicago, and they're like, do you enjoy improv? I'm like, I'm okay with it. And then they're like, don't go to Chicago then.
Mm.
Like unless you love improv and the improv scene, unless you're like what fuck I can't remember his name.
What do you mean by
Tim
improv?
Robinson.
Like,
Yeah.
what exactly is? I don't know who Tim Robinson is. Sorry, but
Oh,
like, what
oh no,
exactly
no,
is improv? Like, when I think of improv, I think of literally improv, like off the top of your head kind of stuff. Are you still talking about like
yeah,
comedy, or are you just like in
yeah,
general?
comedy improv. Yeah,
Oh, so what's an example in the Bay Area of like comedy improv?
I think Bay Area. I think is like they do a lot of like comedy sports. I don't know if you've seen that stuff or anything.
Comedy
Um,
sports?
yeah.
I've seen some shot
Um,
collar shit. That's the latest that I've seen. It's close to sports. I don't know.
yeah, that was the thing my friend did for a while, where it was like, I mean, there's also other stuff. There's like uh, endgame improv and like all out comedy theater, stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, but like and my friend did comedy sports since he was a kid, and that's more like you have an improv group and they do games or scenes, but they're split into two. So it's like whoever does the better scene gets more points, and whoever wins gets like set of whatever team of the night or something like that. My friend did it for a while, and he really enjoyed it. And I remember like when I was watching it, and since then I've done like Groundlings improv classes, which is like Groundlings and UCB is where like SNL tends to recruit from, kind of thing.
Mm.
But like I remember watching him doing like improv on stage, and like everyone's doing their show, and I was thinking like I really don't like sharing the stage when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a very selfish prick in that way.
Aren't we all?
I right? I'm just like, no, but listen to me because I got
Right.
some funny shit.
Right.
Um, so my friend was like, yeah, Chicago's like stand up scene's good, but like it's known for like its improv classes like IO and Second City, for all that kind of shit. Like Mike Myers came from there, and if you ever watched I Think You Should Leave, Tim Robinson like came from there, and he's like known for his very bombastic characters and weird ass sketches. I think You Should Leave is on Netflix, I think. But yeah, it's like that. But I'm like, that's not like I don't personally. I'm not that passionate about improv that I'm like I want to do that for the rest of my life. I'm more passionate about like comedy and acting than that stuff. So for now, like it's either LA or fight some rats in New York. That's really my only two.
It seems like, with that being said, it seems like improv isn't much of a career, but I mean, I feel like all of this shit, a lot of people, if I was like a parent or something, I
Yeah,
wouldn't consider any of it a career, but realistically, it you don't like you said Mike Myers, he's not just an improv guy. I think it's more of a tool to kind of help you in
exactly.
your craft. So it's like if you want to be an actor, maybe it'll help you if you just went
Mhm.
hardcore into improv and maybe got respected in that scene or whatever network, but
Yeah,
it's a tool. I can't really think of
yeah,
anybody who's like a fucking black belt at improv and that's all they do. It seems like that's
yeah,
something you need to do everywhere. I feel like that should definitely help with comedy. I feel like maybe, I mean, I haven't done it. I've only done improv in like high school and stuff. And I like it. But same with you. I don't think I'm like passionate about it. Maybe you have a little bit more because you seem a little more invested in it. But I do see it as a tool. It seems fun. It seems
Yeah,
fun. But
I think. Yeah,
no,
I
go
think
ahead.
what. Oh, sorry. I think what improv did for me was like it helped me one like quickly find the joke of whatever was happening. So it quickly helped me find like what people find funny about a particular. In an improv scene, it's the bit of the scene, like the joke of the scene. But
Yeah.
in comedy, for me, it's more like when I'm especially doing an open mic or a show, when I see what people are laughing at, I'm quicker to find, oh, they're laughing at this. And I need to start joking more about this. And then for other things like Groundlings, when I took it, it helped find like characters. So whenever I do act outs on stage, I can like quicker find a character because one of my improv coaches, he also does stand up. He basically said like, you have my type of humor where it's like you like creating people who don't understand they're being ridiculous, which is funny. Exactly.
Homeless
Which is
people.
funny, but it's like all those people. Yes. Oh my God. But he mentioned like, but once in a while the audience has to like be let in on the joke, and you have to show them like, am I being stupid? Am I being ridiculous? Is this weird? And then go right back to them being like, no, I'm not. It helped me a lot. Like it's for me, it helped like with comedy and acting classes, but it's the best way for me to like get notes on my comedy without like going to an open mic and just having a heckler yell at me.
Yeah. I feel like the improv can help with dealing with the heckler too. That's what I was going towards. Like, well, that's your take on it, which is valid. Everything's valid, but for me, I feel like I think it would really just help with like the crowd work and obviously like the improv aspect of doing a show or an open mic. Like maybe on the way over there, you of course you have an idea of what you want to say in your head, but then when you show up and you notice some things like, oh, there's a fucking dog here or something, and you want to riff on whatever's going on in the environment, so like observational style. And improv could really help with that. Did you go to college in San Jose? Are you a Spartan?
Am I a Spartan? No, I'm not. I went to college in Orange County,
Okay.
and I'm dealing with that student debt now.
When'd you graduate?
I graduated with a theater degree back in 2013. I think no, 2018. 2017.
Okay.
Graduated high school. I was going to say I was not an 18-year-old college graduate.
Yeah.
I was not that smart.
Improv the shit out of that college, bro.
How did you get A's on all these exams? I just fucking guessed, man. I read the room.
I'm really good at crowd work.
Just get up on like a table in the middle of like a final. Be like, so who's got the answers?
Dude, oh man, one time I took a summer class for college. I was really bad at math, and I had to, I think like high school equivalent is basically like algebra 2, and I think I cheated the fuck out of it because the dude was like no notes for the test, and I pull out a whole notebook full of notes, and he just didn't do anything. And so
Oh my God.
I finished the test. I finished pretty early too, and I fucking hated it. It was summer school. I think, how old was I? I'm like 18, and I just didn't want to be there. And when I finally finished, I think I got like a B or something. Like I did pretty well. Well, obviously because I cheated, and I just remember like leaving the classroom and just being just like whoa, just making the biggest fucking scene in the hallway. I think I twerked on the hallway, and my buddy was in the class, and like I was like, so how'd it go when I left? And he was just all like, the teacher just was like, well, somebody's happy, and everybody was all laughing and shit. And I guess I was a little bit of a class clown. I did want to say something when you first mentioned that you moved here and everybody thought you were autistic. There was one point in my life the teacher thought I was autistic as well. But I remember when I first moved, I've always lived in the Bay Area. I was born in Hayward, but I've like moved around. So there's like I was like in the San Leandro, Oakland area till I was like 8, and then I moved like East Bay, like Antioch, and I think yeah, 3rd grade, and I was new, and I didn't know anyone, and I just remember just laying on the grass like face down, like I really was just like socially impaired. Like I just didn't know how to make friends. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was like that same year, like somewhere around elementary school. I like, for me, I mean, I like girls. I've always like known in my head from the moment I started popping boners that I like girls. Like I've always known that I was straight, but I didn't know how to get girls to like me or whatever. So I remember, I'm pretty sure, like right when I moved and nobody knew me, I thought it'd be a great idea to pretend I was gay, because I thought if I pretended I was gay, maybe girls would be less intimidated to try and be like friends with me and stuff. And yeah, it didn't work. It did. I don't think it
Oh,
worked.
oh man.
But
I,
circling
I,
back, yeah, go ahead. My bad.
oh no. Go ahead, finish. What were you gonna
No,
say?
I wasn't gonna finish. That's all I wanted to say, but I felt
Oh,
like that we're kind of stuck us at a dead end, so I was gonna like circle back to like adult shit or whatever. But
oh
I
my.
don't know. It was just my two
No,
cents.
I mean, like when I was a kid, I remember my I remember being a kid, and there was like, so like, I was bullied a lot as a kid, and one joke people did like to play once in a while. It wasn't all the time, but it happened enough for me to remember. Is because I was like very overweight and very socially awkward. The joke was like, "Hey, ask him on a date and see if he says yes."
Oh, what a
Um,
great joke.
I know it's top tier pranking,
Oh
and
man,
so
that's fucked up, man.
I know. And so when I was in like 5th grade, and this was even in middle school too, I think there was this one girl who genuinely was interested in like hanging out with me more,
Hmm.
but I was so like used to the joke, to the prank, that I'm like, no, fuck you, get out, like I'm not. And it hit the point where she was so persistent that my friend joked I was gay. And so she believed that. And I've never seen a 5th grader be more depressed in their life.
Damn.
And I was talking to my friend. I'm like, did we go too far?
Did you not
Did
like
we go
her?
too far?
Did you not like her back though, or
I
did you
think
not care?
I was so, I don't know if I liked her back or not, but I was just so like in my own head about people not liking me that I just, the idea of it, like, it's like, no, it can't be. She's doing a joke. She's doing a bit.
She's doing a bit. That's such a comic
Yeah.
thing to say. She's doing a bit. Or like we're doing a bit. Dude.
She's doing crowd work. Right when I turn my back. I see the mic in your backpack, bitch. Don't lie to me. All right.
Dude. Um you mentioned New York and LA, and a big place, and I just mentioned it with this other comic who was on the show a couple days ago. And I always hear comics around the scene always talk about this place, and there are other people who've moved here or moved there. Austin, Texas. What do you?
Oh my God.
So I went over there about a year ago, and it just, you saying they're doing a bit reminds me of something like real quick. We
Yeah.
went over to the world famous Creek in the Cave, and I think we hit an open mic there, and then we go to like, so the thing about the Creek in the Cave, there's their green room It's just like it's right by the bathrooms. So there's the bathrooms and then there's a door and it's just like an outdoor patio with it.
Mm.
I'm trying to think, was there like an outdoor stage? Probably not. It's just like this big Creek in the Cave like banner, and we were being such tourists, like taking pictures of it and shit. And there's like another bar, and like all the comics who were like doing the open mic were fucking back there. My buddy has a story actually about Chris D'Elia. Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah.
So Chris D'Elia was at the Creek in the Cave, and this is like a couple of months, maybe a year after he got like quote unquote canceled and came back. And so he did a set or whatever, dropped in at the Creek in the Cave, and he was at this green room that I was talking about. And he was my friend. He doesn't really know him that well, but he like told me because he knew that I was a fan. And he was like, "Your boy Chris D'Elia's here." And he was like, "Oh shit, really?" So I asked him about it, and he's like, "Dude, he just spent the whole time in the green room just like freaking out about how he's still canceled, and he just seemed really stressed about it." But so no, when we were there, I brought my girl, and she was hella drunk, and just like she was like heckling. She was what was she doing? She was so like the comedians that we liked, she was just so drunk and like went up to some of the comedians and was like crying about like, you need more recognition, you guys don't get the credit you deserve,
Oh
and
my god.
you guys are fantastic, you guys are all funny, I need to let you know you're all funny. And this comedian just with the blankest face is just staring at her like, are you doing a bit? Oh my god.
Oh my
Shit.
god.
So, but yeah, would you ever move out there? I hear people just always talking about like that's the place to be, and I mean, with my experience when I went out there, that place is just full of a bunch of people from different parts of the world in the comedy scene that are like, oh, I gotta go there. It's too much. It's too much, man. If you like comedy, if you're really about that life, if you're fucking improv black belt life, go ahead, get out, go out there. But there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to get good pizza. I'm sorry
Oh
for
my
if you
god.
hear this noise, it's gonna
Thank
stop.
you.
But yeah,
Oh yeah. It's all good.
it's my
I
cat litter. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
no worries, dude. My cat's. Oh, she was being an asshole. Now she's asleep. I think she was just hungry. No, my. I was about to. I'm glad you brought that up because it's like I'm sure people that love Austin, and like good for them, more power to them. But it's like one thing that I know for a fact I would miss, and this is like from my friends who like have lived in Austin their whole life. One thing I would miss moving, is like having a fucking walkable city. Um, like like the area I'm in right now in LA, like
Oh, you're in LA. I'm sorry,
if
I missed that. I thought you were in San Jose
oh no
still.
worries. Oh no, sorry. Am I off the podcast now? Am I just
Oh, you're on the podcast. No, you're good.
okay? Okay.
No, no.
I'm
The last guy
kidding.
we do you know what do you know what Joe Bando? I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I've heard Joe Bando. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just had him on, and he's from Orange County.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. You thought it was a Bay Area exclusive podcast only.
That was. Don't let them know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, but yeah, so I'm in LA right now, and like, the fucking grocery store. If I want to go there, I just walk across the street to like grab my. It's not the best like walkable city, like it's not New York, but it's decent in terms of like I don't have to drive literally everywhere, or like I can get an Uber and it's not too far away, kind of thing. And like even in the Bay Area, like my area of San Jose, I was like I'm from. It was weird. I'm like kind of from a suburb, but like the city was within a block of where I lived, kind of thing.
Mm.
So I lived kind of right outside of Los Gatos, and it was like, which is like where Orange County moms go when they can't afford Orange County. Like, I don't know. I know you say you've never been out there. Los Gatos is a weird fucking place. Very nice, but very weird. But like in Austin, and I've been to Texas. I've been to like various places in the South, and even other more rural parts of like California and stuff. And it's like it's super spread out. It's super like um, isolating in terms of just like how car focused and how you are so far away from anyone, and it's always asking for a fucking DUI because you have to drive everywhere and you're gonna get drunk because there's nothing else to do there. And I like, I don't know, I personally couldn't live in that type of environment because it's just not my, like, if I wanted to move back to a suburb, I would move back in with my parents, kind of thing. Because at least San Jose has good weather. Like, that's me personally. Like, but like, obviously, more power to it if people want to move to Austin for whatever reason, for comedy, for rents. Even though apparently Austin's rents is increasing right now.
Yeah, it's increasing because the population's increasing there. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, from my experience, it didn't seem that great. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I have like some kind of Stockholm syndrome with the Bay or something like that. It's just like nothing's gonna deter me. I was like, no, this is home or whatever. I wanted to ask you. I wrote this down, just thinking about it. So I'm pretty sure I met you through Bacon, right?
Yeah.
So and this whole time I thought you were in the Bay, and there, it seems like there's like other people from different places. So what do you think about Bacon and like LA? Because I feel like it's been a pretty great tool for me to just meet
Yeah.
people and kind of just get the inside scoop with the open mic scene, comedy scene in general, underground scene, if you want to call it that. It's like
Yeah.
I'm assuming if somebody like you and Joe Bando are part of it, maybe of course you're former Bay Area residents and you have like ties to it a little bit, but you're still like a part of it even down. Is there something like that on it, like in the LA scene, or does it seem a little bit more do it yourself?
I'd say it's definitely more do it yourself. It's like it's so much you know, go to a club or a booker's Instagram, follow them, go to one of their shows, network with them, and then get on. If you're lucky and if you have a killer set. Whereas like Bacon, I definitely feel it's more. It definitely feels more like a community where it's like, hey, I'm looking for guest spots. I'm looking for these people. I'm looking for something, something. And it feels because like right now I'm non LA comedy scene, underground LA comedy scene, like all these like Facebook things, and it's 90% of it is either like club auditions or people advertising their shows. Like that's most of what's happening,
Got it.
or like open mics kind of thing.
And,
Um,
and how long have you been doing stand up?
since I started doing stand up when I was maybe shortly after I graduated college. I started doing stand up in the Bay, and I can't remember the coffee shop, but I started doing open mics at this coffee shop in San Jose, and realized I wanted to do it more. And then when so fun fact, shortly after I moved out of LA, shortly after I graduated college, I had jaw surgery, which is why I moved back home. So after that stuff, I moved to LA, and so I've just been bouncing back and forth between LA and the Bay Area in terms of stand up. And I will say like Bay Area, even though do you know Drea Meyer?
That sounds familiar. I feel like I've seen that name on Bacon or
Yeah.
something.
She's been doing stand up for a hot minute in like the Bay and just moved to LA. And she talks a bit about it where she's like, for her, the Bay Area comedy scene just got like for her, it felt like a bit too, what's the word, like crowded. Like,
Yeah, oversaturated, kind of like
yeah, oh,
Austin.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so she had to move to LA because LA, even if there's a lot of comics, it feels so sectioned off. Where it's like I literally have had friends. I've talked to them where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing a set in Pasadena, and they're like, oh fuck that, because like in terms of like that is a
It's
bit
very
like, you know,
divided.
living in San Jose and then saying like, oh, I have a show in Oakland, and they're like, oh fuck that, I'm not going there. Like,
Wow.
um, um, that's kind of like where they're at, which is like fine. But yeah, it's Bacon does feel much more like, to me, like much more like a community oriented, whereas like all the LA Facebook comedy pages are like, yo, I have a show, come to it, and if you're really good at networking, maybe you'll get a spot off of coming to my show, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very isolating in that way.
Yeah, it's good. It's scoop. Like I always wonder like what it's like in other places like Chicago, Arizona, even Vegas.
Hmm.
Because I always just there's people that come from other places that are like, hey, I'm from Washington. My family died. I'm trying to look for a set. Gonna be out here for the next couple of months or something. You never see that on Bacon. People are always just like, I've got something going on, which makes me move to the Bay for a little bit. If anybody's got spots, let me know.
I've seen that. I've just never seen like, you know, hey, you know, my
Family
cat
died.
fucking died, so
Yeah,
I need to have a spot.
just a little improv, just a little improv for the podcast.
I
You know,
love
that's all
it.
it was.
I love it.
So you've been doing it maybe around close to 6 years, huh? And I'm sure
Almost.
pandemic
Yep.
kind of messed it up. I do you know Derek the Destroyer?
Yeah.
He's the only guy from San Jose that kind of like sticks out to me who's like from there, who really
Hmm.
um and he was telling me that he's like kicked out of certain places. He's kicked out of like Santa Cruz and so I always tell people that I'd be at the Blue Lagoon doing the open mic and it's like, yeah, man, my man DNA. Shout out to
Oh
Derek the
man, dude.
Destroyer. Have you ever done the Blue Lagoon in Santa
I
Cruz?
haven't. Oh my
Oh.
god, I haven't. But that is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Have you have you gotten to do what do they have in San Jose? It's the Improv, right? That's is that the big club there?
That's the big one.
Okay. Have you ever got
And
to do it?
I've never gotten to do the improv. I have. I remember talking to like a booking guy there, and he's like, "Try out one of our mics, and we might book you," kind of thing. And I've never been in San Jose long enough for me to like be able to fit that in.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I know like the Bay Area, and I know like SF is probably better. If I just like manned up and just drove there, I could probably do more stuff. SF or Oakland, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's at
yeah,
least from what I hear, it seems like San Jose is at least I think it's top three. I think the
yeah.
places to be is San Francisco, Oakland, and then San Jose. I'd probably tie Oakland and San Jose. I always hear something about this caravan place.
Hmm.
Some I
Oh
think the
yeah,
Braham Lounge, is that what it is? That guy, I don't know if you know Jimmy Mendez. I think is that his last name, Jimmy Mendez.
Jimmy
Um,
Menzies.
he does shows there. So it seems like
Yeah,
there's I guess there's mics there, but I don't really haven't invested time to go out there for that. But I'm just waiting for somebody to hit me up, and if you it's like, hey, come to something, I'll do it. But
yeah.
like they have mics at the Improv. Like I I think I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know or not, like is it like a bucket pool kind of shit? Like is there kind of
Yeah,
no
it is.
guarantee? I don't like that shit, man. I
I
mean,
fucking hate bucket mics, man.
yeah. If I'm in the area, okay, but I don't want to, like they had something. Do you know, are you familiar with like Sacramento? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they had like Laughs Unlimited, and they have something I think it's called like the Pro Am, which is basically the open mic, but it's like an open mic that you got to sign up for. And it's like,
Mhm.
I get it. Like if I'm in the area, okay, oh maybe I'll make some time to do it. But I'm not gonna like go out there and just kind of like possibly. I mean, I'll do it for Kill Tony, but it's like different. It's a mic. It's an open mic, and all I could
Yeah.
think is, hold on, I don't want to lose it. It's okay. The only place that I think does a good job at it, and it's still kind of like, I'm more of a I kind of like a first come first serve kind of thing, or whatever.
Hmm.
Alameda, the Alameda Comedy Club, you sign up online and then they give you like a
Yeah.
day until they like pick whoever they want to pick. And I like that, so that way I don't have to like, drive and literally waste my day just because this place wants to have like an audience member, even though the audience member is like not even a civilian, it's a comedian. It just seems kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's fair because it's a bucket pool, so it makes it non-biased that you
Yeah.
make the list and stuff. But just for like timescape, I'd rather have it be biased. Just pick
Yeah.
someone, man. And then what if I don't know?
I know.
But
No, I totally agree.
they put you on the list. It's weird, like, and I don't want to
Yeah.
talk bad about these places. It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
And I respect anybody who runs a club. I could barely run a fucking open mic, so. So I get it. Like you need to
It's
put asses in the seats, but sometimes it's just because you've been doing it for some time now. Do you ever just sometimes try to? And I feel like it could help anyone who's trying to be a comedian, like, or if you've been in the game for a while. I feel like it helps to just kind of like take off your comedy shoes and try to put yourselves in the shoes of a civilian, like somebody who's not interested in doing stand up, but who's interested in going to a show. Because never in my life have I been like, let's go to the open mic. Let's go see. It's always like, no,
yeah.
this big person's in town who I've seen on my fucking phone. Let's buy tickets for that. It's never crossed my mind like, oh yeah, let's see these fucking people try to be funny. Unless I
Yeah.
wanted it. But that's that's how my brain is wired, which is why there's obviously some things off because I'm a comedian. So,
It's such a weird thing because I sometimes it's like people I know there are people that just go to comedy shows because they're like, especially like if it's a bigger club like in LA, like in the Valley, there's the Valley's like just for context is like North Hollywood, and you have to drive over a hill to get there. But there's like three big ones I think are like Ha-Ha's and Flappers. I guess Comedy Chateau, but I have my own opinions on that club, but I'm not gonna get into it.
yeah.
But like I've been like on a date, let's say in the Arts District, and the person I was with is like, I want to go see a stand-up show, and we just like booked a thing at like Ha-Ha's, bought a ticket, and just we saw whoever we were gonna see, kind of thing. And so I know there's always that, and if I'm doing a show at a club like that, or like another club I did is the Hollywood Comedy, where it's like people either go there because they see a ticket, they see an Eventbrite link, and they're like, well, I want to try going there, or it's another comic's friend, or it's someone that's there to see the club owner, Zhao Ying, because she's like pretty popular now and she has her own podcast and shit.
I know her.
Yeah, you know her? Okay, yeah.
Somebody referenced me to her, and just she's blown up. She's only done comedy for like 2 years. Like, okay, do you see her? Like, have you seen her in person and stuff?
Yeah, I first met her when she first opened her club back in like 2019.
Does she come from
And
money or something? Like, in a way, it seems like she's like buying her way into comedy. I don't know what's.
so it's funny. So like I remember, and like I don't know what her personal life was like, so
Sure.
I won't get into that.
Sure.
But I remember she she like opened up her club, and I saw her work on her material like at the club while she was running it. And it was kind of interesting, like just seeing her like really work on that material because it was a lot of just, at first it was just monologuing and figuring out what she wanted to work on
Mm-hmm.
and what was funny, and then like slowly getting more and more developed over time, which is interesting to see that progression. And then COVID hit, uh, and all I know is that the husband she married was like pretty wealthy.
Mm.
I don't know if she came from money, but I think that plus the club, like kind of helped. Plus, like I assume you would be writing that club as a loss on your taxes,
Mm.
um,
Them
during the
Chinese
pandemic
people, bro.
because exactly. Um, and so, but eventually she like kept the club open and then was able to um, launch it again. And she built an online following. I think that's something that also helped her a lot. Was she built an online following through TikTok and Instagram and shit like that.
Yep, you
And
gotta
then
do
just
that.
sort of,
You
you
gotta
gotta,
do it. Unless you're really fucking good. Like, okay, this is, and I'm not gonna name no names. I'm sorry if I cut you off, but it's like
no worries.
that. There's some people that are they're so against the whole internet thing. Like they have an ego, but I feel like most comedians are like, you gotta be special. And like just because you like everybody's on the internet though. Like it's bigger than that. It's a big competition. Then there's just some guy that's like, no, there's something different between. I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm not an Instagram guy. You got to see me in person. It's different it's really funny in person. But I feel like some people can be like, man, if you're not funny on the internet, then you're probably not funny in person either, and you're just
Yeah.
oblivious to it. And I just feel like, fuck, I lost it. What was I getting at? Like, I forgot. I just got fired up about people who are so against it in old school, and it's just like you just can't adapt. I don't know.
It does get frustrating when I see people like, well, I don't do Instagram, I don't do TikTok or blah blah blah, and I'm like, bro, how do you market your shows?
It's not even
How?
about marketing. To me, I just think sometimes it's a form of comedy. It's like, how could you?
That too, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I respect it. Like I respect people who do stand up, but and I feel like your opinion would be different because you seem a little bit more involved or immersed in that world of like improv and stage. Like you said, you love doing Shakespeare, and was it Shakespeare?
Yeah,
You love doing that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
Shakespeare.
Me personally, I respect the shit out of it. It's hard as fuck. I think stage acting's harder than camera acting because you can't yell cut in front of an audience. But I still don't like it. Like I would
Yeah,
never, and they don't seem to get the credit that's due. So you just gotta respect it. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, dude, how do you like stand up, but you're not gonna make a TikTok? Like, both of them are kind of corny in itself. You drove a fucking
yeah.
hour to go out in front of strangers at a bar that people probably didn't even know you were there, and you say you love that
Hmm.
shit, but you don't want to like put a hashtag, you know? Like,
Yeah. It's so wild that like, because yeah, even like taking aside like, you're not even posting an ad for a show. It's also like you a lot of some of the best jokes that like consistently kill. I like actually worked on through TikTok, even though like my TikTok following kind of stagnated. It like I did. There's like this one joke I have about like dating someone who's bisexual, and like the biggest thing about dating a bisexual woman is that it's not constant three ways. It's just a woman threatening to become a lesbian every time you fold the laundry wrong. And it's like that got I want to say like 60K, something like that. Like it did decently. And so I'm like, maybe this is easy to translate to like stage. This is just a joke
right.
I told. And so I did, and it like works pretty consistent. Like I did a show in fucking Honolulu, and it was okay. The set I did was okay. But like people legit came up to me after the show and was like saying, I love that bit. That's so fucking funny. I related so much to that. Like,
A lot of bi
it,
people in Honolulu, huh?
I know. Hey, man, if you're looking to get some, um, and I remember I did, oh, God, and I think the thing with TikTok is that's interesting is like if you know the audience you want to go after, that can really help you making more specific jokes towards that audience. Because like I had no idea what I was doing when I started my TikTok, but I realized I developed kind of like a more nerdy niche that like is also into like dirty humor or whatever the fuck. But like I developed a more nerdy niche, and I'm just like maybe that's kind of what I need to focus on. But I also did roast battle recently, and that also made me realize like I kind of maybe need to pull back a bit and make like comedy that's more broad appealing, because exactly like you said, if I don't know the comic and I'm going to a club, I don't want super niche humor that applies to like 5 people. I just want to fucking laugh.
Right.
And so, that's the stuff I'm like trying to like. I have what is it? I have one joke about like being from San Jose, where it's like I'm from San Jose, the world's biggest small town. There's like nothing to do, and that always does like okay and shit. But like I talk so much shit about like the Winchester House and like how that's the only fucking interesting thing in that whole city. But it's one of those things of like, once again, I have to make it even broader than that a bit. So I've gone to like making fun of myself and shit like that, or
Yeah, some people have
other
never
stuff.
been to San Jose, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Most people haven't been to San Jose, nor should they.
Because it's a bucket pool
out.
for the improv. That's why people don't want to go out there.
It's true. Actually, if you want to own a house and or like rent an apartment in San Jose, you actually have to show up to the improv and they do a bucket.
Are you doing a bit? No, fucking, dude, I want to circle back to the internet shit. I actually am against TikTok, even though, like, personally, with everything I said, yeah, I don't. I get it that, like you said, 60K on a thing, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I do have a TikTok account. I do have like some content, maybe like less than 10, 15 posts, but it's like throughout the years. But it's crazy. I remember TikTok started being a thing before the pandemic, and I just kind of like refused to be a part of it. And I'm just like stubborn, just like how a comic doesn't want to have an Instagram. Like it's not about the internet. It's just about that platform in general. I feel like there's just a lot of like bots. There's a lot, man. I downloaded TikTok, and the first thing it recommended to me was some big titty bitch breastfeeding, you know? And I like, how do you know this? How do you know that's what I want to see? And it's just like, there's just, I don't know, man. I open that shit up and there's some weird content, and there's some things that just, I don't know. And it's from China, not to be racist. I'm like 20% Chinese, so, and I was about to call Jiayong something. It's like, yeah, the Chinese are like the Jews of Asians, you know. There's fucking Chinatowns everywhere. They be on that real estate, man. But
They be on it.
it's, I don't know, with the whole TikTok thing, it just seems like it's not as rewarding as it is addicting, and how it could like do the like mental toll on you. Because I know a comic, and I feel like I'm not, even if I say this, people might know who it is, and I'm cool with them. They're a friend, but they're like, I treated them like a regular open micer or whatever, and then just like out of nowhere, I realized they're like TikTok famous, and I'm just like, oh shit. And it really did kind of like spark in my head a little bit, like, oh man, this sticks out. And I swear to God, and I don't like it. I'm just being honest. They're an okay comic. They're about as good as you would think with somebody who's been doing it like less than a year, I guess. But they just have that like factor. It's almost like being TikTok famous or something. It's like a
Yeah.
blue check mark in real life, and people are like, "Ooh, this person might be able to bring a crowd," or as business
Hmm.
wise. So I had them on my show. Damn, I'm really like saying who they are. I just don't want it to like come off as
Yeah.
negative. I'm just being, and I would love to have this person on actually to talk about it. But anyways,
Yeah.
I so like I said, I had an open mic for a little bit, and it would flip flop. I think it was like 70 to 80% of the time an open mic, and then the other 30% to 20 was a like an actual showcase. So book people, pay people, and
Hmm.
I remember talking to the person who owns the venue, and they're like, they like have a person hired to do TikTok for them and shit. They've got like 20,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. And I remember this like ego kind of came out. I was like talking to them
Hmm.
on the phone, and I was like, "Yeah, I know you guys are popular. You guys have got like 10,000 at the time." I was like, "You guys have like 10,000 followers on Instagram." I don't know why I brought that up, but I brought it up. And then she like was like, 10,000? We have 17,000, like correcting me. I was like, "Oh, my bad." My oh yeah, 17. Okay, my bad. Excuse me. And it just kind of like maybe people are just so into numbers and they care. And so I told them, I was like, "Yeah, I have this one comic. They're like TikTok famous." And they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for." I'm like, "Are you looking for famous people or are you looking for funny people, man?" Like, holy shit. But it's like, I
Yeah.
guess it's like if they're famous, like, oh, they gotta have a reason to. And so I asked this person who's like TikTok famous. I was like, how long have you been doing comedy? And they're like, I've done about 40 mics. And I was like, okay, like that's
Yeah.
fine. Like you could there's some people that could only do 40 mics and they're funny as shit. They're new and they're funny, but
Hmm.
for the most part, and I seen it. I saw something go down on Bacon. I thought they were like making fun of me or something cuz I was asking for people to be on the podcast, and then but it worked. I
Hmm.
got people like you to be on and stuff. And I saw
Yeah.
like another post. I think it was like that Sammy Obiad guy, the Indian guy. He was all like, "I'm doing a podcast, like a newer comic," and everybody in the comments is like, "How dare you start a podcast? Like, what do you need to get up on stage and you need to hit at least 1,000 mic/shows before you even think about saying a word on
What?
the podcast." I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about, bro?" Like, I don't know.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is weird that like, so on the one hand, I the podcast thing. Sorry, just the podcast thing is like, I get it. Like everyone and their mom has a podcast, but it's like if someone's inviting people to do podcasts for like up and coming comics in an area, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's It's actually a pretty nice thing to do because it gives both people a bit of notoriety. Um, yeah, that's weird. On to what you said too. It's like I have a friend who books a lot of shows and does a lot of shows as well. And I was talking to him about like booking comics with like numbers and stuff, and he's like, really the only people who like there's three big examples of like people whose TikTok following translated to real life audience numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Trevor
and it's
Wallace.
like Trevor Wallace, exactly, Zhao Ying, and I can't remember his name. The rip dude that had the shirtless comedy poster.
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer, I think that's his name. Yeah, it's like those are the few big ones, but everyone's like kind of not considering the fact that like they might be exceptions to the rule, because I also know people that have like 100K, 150K on TikTok, and that doesn't always translate to audience numbers. Maybe they get a few people because TikTok is an international platform.
Right.
And like you can see who's following you by state or by country and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like if uh maybe like a quarter of your following is in California, how much of that is actually in the Bay Area? How much of
Yeah.
that is in LA?
How many of them have
Who's
work?
going to
You know?
Exactly. Exactly. Who's gonna legitimately drive out to see you? And so it's like you gotta do fucking big numbers if you're really thinking about watching that person. If you're really thinking about translating that following, because like you said, it's like it's not gonna. Then things like what you mentioned happen, where it's like, and introducing so and so, and no one knows who they are because they have 20K on TikTok, but that 20K translates to 5 people in fucking San Francisco. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
completely get it. I think two things. Bill Burr said something about it. I think he said it on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was like, "Look, you just need like 1,000 people in every city or like every county to like you, and then if you have that, then you can go on tour. You might not sell out, but you could be successful if you get at least 1,000 people like all in every state to like know you or something like that, and you could do something. But other than that, dude, I think what you mentioned, it's kind of like an economics thing. I think somebody just sent me an article that they're trying to raise the minimum wage to $20 for freaking McDonald's employees, and now gas is fucking up to like six something out here, and it's like it's the same thing with numbers. I mentioned this to a buddy earlier, but not on this podcast. Like for me, I feel like a goal, like let's just pretend an imaginary number. Realistically, I think my goal is to just get like 1,000 followers if I could ever do that. But I feel like at the rate that I'm going and how the social credit score economics works, the rate that I'm going, by the time I get 100,000 followers is like nothing. And now it's all the people who already had 100,000 when you were starting are at like 10 million. Jyoung Summers is already at fucking 2 million by the time I reach my 100,000. And so it's just like it's just a numbers game. So that's what it goes to your point of like, yeah, you could go to a show at San Francisco and the comic who goes up has 20K on TikTok and you have no idea. So that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, I feel like it just people get too consumed into that shit. So sometimes I'd rather just kind of be like, I'd rather just not. If it happens, it happens. I don't want to be so like hungry for it. And an idea, I wouldn't know because I'm not like famous like that. If I feel like if I were to be internet famous, I wouldn't really want to do stand up as much. I'd be like, dude, look, I got 60K off of talking about bisexuals in my bedroom. Like, I want to be an at-home comedian. And then maybe you would just hit an open mic, or maybe you get your name pulled from the improv, and then you take a picture and just make it feel like, oh, look, guys, I had a good time with everybody at the improv, and people from fucking India wouldn't even know that it was a bucket pull and be like, man, yeah, he's just fake it till you make it kind of shit.
It absolutely is fake it till you make it. Like knowing, I met oh god, I was like at a party and I met Kirk Fox, and I was like talking to him because how I remember him is how I first met him ever was I was at the improv, and like it was the improv lab, I think, and like it was right when the vaccines started rolling out and people were coming out, and it was their first mic back, and I legit saw someone pull my name, and then they saw Kirk Fox and then said, and up next is Kirk Fox, and he like comes up.
Wow.
That's yeah, and like obviously that's not his fault. Like it just is what it is kind of thing. But I remember talking to him at like a party sometime after, and it was that thing of when I talked to him, he just said like he felt very he was literally just like focused on his kid the entire party. It was very like cute how down to earth he was. And I was talking to him just like, yeah, how does it feel like, being where you're at? He's like, I'm just kind of grateful, and I got a good family, I have fun neighbors, and I got a good career. You watch Reservation Dogs?
Who is Kirk Fox, by the way? Is he a comedian or something?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's a comedian. He's mostly in LA.
Okay.
but he if you ever watched Reservation Dogs or Jury Duty, who's in that too, and Parks and Rec.
Okay. I know Parks and Rec.
Yeah, did you ever? Yeah, and Community, I think, as well. Did you ever watch Jury Duty, that show on Prime?
No, that doesn't even ring a bell. When you said that, I started thinking of Judge Judy.
Oh, no. Jury Duty's like, this is another weird one where it's like, it's a show where everything is scripted except for the main character has no idea to show.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's all hidden camera. And it was...
It's like some Truman Show shit, huh?
It basically is. And like, James Marsden's also in it. He plays himself like an exaggerated version. James Marsden was in like X-Men and Sonic and shit like that. And he plays himself in like an exaggerated version. But what was kind of weird about this show and people talking about like, was this show ethical? Was the fact that the guy who played the lead, the guy who didn't know what was going on, for like months after, he was still paranoid that he was being filmed.
Oh wow!
And he was like calling other people, like friends he made on the show. It's like, hey, am I still being filmed right now? And they had to like reassure him that like, no, it's done, it's over, you got your money, like it's all done.
It's kind of scary.
You need to breathe. It is, and it's it's one of those things of like, it got some kind of cult popularity. Obviously not like massive, but like it did well enough. But people were saying like, I really hope this doesn't like necessarily continue on a trend because I also studied psych in college, and this feels like one of those super unethical psychology experiments that like they did in the 30s of like, what if we put like, there's a psychology experiment that is actually how we learned how we associate fear with like certain sounds or objects. And they did it by taking a baby and by the way, it was one of their secretaries' babies. This is like a psych experiment in like the early 20th century. And the real doctors took their secretary's baby, put him in a room, had him make friends with the bunny. And then after he made friends with the bunny, they would start playing a bell sound every time the bunny came in. And after he got associated the bell with the bunny, then every time they hit the bell and the bunny came out, they would just scare the kid by wearing a clown mask and running at him.
What the fuck?
I know. And eventually, whenever the bunny came out, the kid would like run away because he was like so scared. And then they just play the bell and the kid would get scared of the bell again. They're like, great, that was amazing. And then they gave the kid back to their mom and just let him be traumatized for the rest of his fucking life.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, I feel like we're not that far from just watching that live on TV.
Man.
Like, I do fear for like people that like, because the show seems like they were trying to be ethical with it, but I know some executive at like Netflix or fucking MTV is going to watch that shit and be like, okay, but what if we never told them that it was fake?
Yeah. Fucking Punked. Like, times have changed. Like a show like Punked probably wouldn't last in this climate. I just saw this thing recently, but I guess it happened like 5 months ago, but it's like resurfaced because the guy was innocent or he pled not guilty or whatever. He shot a YouTuber. Did you see this? This happened at like a mall.
Oh yeah.
And like the big guy wearing a backwards hat. I don't know what he was playing on his phone, but he was just getting up in this dude's grill and he fucking shot him, bro. And I just think about like, man, that could have been me 10 years ago, because pranking people was a different, like, people actually liked it back then. But nowadays, it's like, it better be a good prank. And I just think of like, it's like, when I think of like Punked and shit like that, I think about like how paranoid you must be as a celebrity when that show was at its peak. And that wouldn't fly. That
that is one interesting thing too, because like I remember Ashton Kutcher, he would say like when he did Punk'd, he would like talk to the celebrity afterwards, and if the celebrity was really like, I don't want that on, he'd destroy the tape. Like he'd just be like, no, I'm not going to do it. But like I think that's the issue with like some YouTube pranksters. Like not that the guy should have been shot, but it's like the issue with some YouTube pranksters is they're going to like random people that aren't used to being filmed, and then they're just going like, hey man, I'm gonna do a prank with you, and they're like, bro,
Are you doing a bit?
fuck off. Yeah, are you doing a bit? Are you doing a bit? Because I don't want to be there.
People are legit doing crimes. People are legit doing crimes, you know? Like, they'll steal your fucking car and crash it and be like, it's a prank, it's a prank.
I was like, I remember I saw that when I was a kid on YouTube. I'm like, why is this funny? Like, all you did was crash his car. There's no joke there anymore.
See, you're better than me, dude, and we're the same age. I would have saw that and be like, oh, when I'm older, I want to do that.
There was a thing I saw. This was some time ago, but the lady that was in the video apparently was completely misled about what the video was. But she basically like the video. This is an old one, so this is like maybe 2014 or something, 2013. So it's not recent, but it was like getting hijabi girls to make out with me. And it's like, and one of the girls that was in the video did an interview afterwards with a guy, and she's like, so here's what the actual casting call was. They told me we were doing a modeling gig for like a new type of brand, like for like a type of hijab or whatever. And they said like they want people who like don't normally wear it so we can get their experience kind of thing. And then maybe like a sketch just to like show how comfortable, whatever. She's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I might be getting some details wrong here, but basically she like came out, and then they're like, all right, so are you cool with making out? And she's like, I'm sorry, what? And like it was like really shady how everything went down and shit. And it's like at first I'm just like, well, you should have just walked out. But like now having been, nothing that bad, but having been in like situations where the casting call said one thing and now they're doing something completely different, and you're already out here, there is that sense of like sunk costs of like, well, okay, if I just do this extra thing, then fine. Especially when you're like, you don't get that much work.
Right.
It's so weird. I did a music video once where they had me. It was like a Trippie Red music video, and it was $150 for the day, and like they had me at one point doing legitimate stunts. They had a dude jump off a truck while it was blowing up.
Oh shit! What'd they pay him for that?
They only paid him $150. That's the thing. And like looking back, everyone in that team should have just been like, "No, you need to pay us all a bump for doing stunts."
Right. People are just like happy to be here. You know, I haven't gotten work in months. Trippie Red.
Yeah. Trippie Red, that's amazing.
I'll jump out a fucking truck. He's TikTok famous, bro. I'll fucking do it.
That's the thing. It's just like we just see it as work, but in reality, it's like, no, we all should have been like, no, you need to give us a bump for stunt acting, like non-union or not. Like you need to give us a bump for this, because $150 for jumping off a flaming truck. Are you kidding me? We also had to like run away from a tank at one point. It was so weird. All for $150.
Yeah, man, it's hard to make a living in the entertainment business, dude. It's
oh my god.
I mean, you're in LA, dude. You should know, but
I should. Yeah.
With everything that we talk about, I feel like this stuff can be. I mean, anything not in moderation is bad for you. But I just feel like some people get lost in this in this world, and then they want to make it or whatever, and they spend their whole. It's almost kind of like the same thing as chasing money, in a way, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more purpose when it comes to that, and I don't know if it's just me being soft or something, but like, of course, making people laugh and entertain, it's very important, but sometimes I guess it's just about like what you're doing for yourself, because it's a lot of sacrifice for very little return in a lot of most cases, and some things that keep people going is just that hope of that big payout, or maybe you'll get in some movie or something and you'll be set. But I don't think you should necessarily be chasing that. I think you should just be, and a lot of the people who do make it, they always say, you got to enjoy the journey. You know, like where I'm at now, like it's fine. Like I'm cool now. It's boring, but sometimes it's about that unsureness, that gamble, and everything is, that's what it's about. And so you could look back. And sometimes I kind of think, and not to hate on it, it's just a prediction or my 2 cents. Like, for example, someone like a Jayong Summers, who's making it big really quick. It's kind of, well, how can you look back on the maybe you can. Maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe you can look back and be like, oh man, I remember when I started the club and I was working out my monologues, and here we are 3 years later, I'm on Crazy Rich Asians 2 or something. I don't know. And or some people might wait too long. Like, man, I was just thinking about this, and this is my negative feelings, because I'm not perfect, and sometimes I feel like I need to preach or practice what I preach. This podcast, dude. Okay, so it's like October, right? And I'm kind of thinking about, okay, I'm gonna do sober October. I'm gonna probably try to not even jack off for fucking all of October, and maybe even November, because if I end sober October and then it comes to November and I want to do no nut November, and if I get fucking blasted, nothing better than getting blasted and jacking off. So I was like, I'm gonna just try to go 2 months of being clean. So that's what was literally going on with me last night, a little bit before midnight. I was like, I'm gonna get tossed real quick, and this is no offense to you, and I don't think you should take any offense, because I don't know you, but my mindset was like, you know what, man, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting fucked up. It's the last day of September. My birthday's this is October. This is my month. And if I have to cancel on this guy, I'm gonna fucking do it, because who cares? Like, my podcast is small. Like I'm not missing out on any money or anything. And I was, you know who Brian Holtzman is?
Yeah.
So, big fan, just kind of started learning about him, to be honest. And he's one of those comics that I feel like deserves more credit. And he's been in the game for a really long time. And I was watching him do like a podcast, and the podcast only had like 800 views. And it was just kind of like mentally discouraging to me, and I'm trying to just say this out loud. Like, I'm not saying this is right. I'm trying to work this out. Like, it was like mentally discouraged. Like, man, even Brian Holtzman's just like, and it was a hilarious podcast. Like, that's where it goes into. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the money. It's just what I truly find funny, or other people. And so I'm hollering at this thing, but it was still kind of in my head, like, man, this guy's just not getting the credit he deserves. And here I am. I've got my schedule with this podcast and stuff. And I was just like, who gives a shit? Like, I'm not going to do it. And back to what we were saying earlier, you're like, everybody and their mom has a podcast. And I feel like I do kind of struggle a little bit with like, it discouraging me and making me not motivated to want to do it. But kind of like, I'm sure you probably haven't listened to any of my episodes, but kind of the shtick here is that I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. Like, no matter how bad it gets, I'm still gonna do it. And right now I just feel like I'm in this phase of like being a podcaster is like looked down upon. Like, people are like it's like a turn off. Like, I don't know, if you were to if you were to go on a date with a guy and you realize he has a podcast, you'd be like, oh, what a fucking dork. But it's like, you haven't even listened to the podcast. It might be funny as shit. You just kind of associate that everybody thinks they're going to be fucking, I don't know, Andrew Tate or Logan Paul. It's like, no, dude, I have a personality. Like, it's different. And I don't know. I don't even know if I was looking for a response to that. I just wanted my out loud thoughts real quick. But I do have one thing to say. How much time you got on you, by the way? I could go a little longer, but we've done about an hour and 19 minutes.
Damn. I mean, I got an extra like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll say one thing, then I'll shut my mouth and let you say whatever you want for the rest of the time being here. By the way, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Adron Duell or Duell?
Adron Duell.
Duell. See, I was saying your name Duell, I was like, it's kind of like, it's like Duell with a W. But I'm glad I got it right the first time. Duell. So we were talking about, what were we talking about? We were talking about, something about shows and stuff. And I was thinking, I don't know how your love life is or whatever, but I've been in a relationship for some time. So I've never had like Tinder. I've never had like one of those online dating apps, or I haven't been on a real date like with a stranger in a while. So what do you think of this idea? And I don't think it's the most unique idea ever. I feel like it's probably been done, but I just want your take on it. I've never said this out loud. Like, what if you were to like go on a date with a chick? I don't know if you're into chicks, but if you go on a date with a chick and like you go to a comedy show, but little does she know you're like booked for this show. Like, what if you go see, I don't know, it could be a big show. It depends on where you're at in your comedy career. Let's go like with you. You seem to be just, in the scene. You seem to be what's it called? A seasoned comedian, like you're there. You're a white belt, you're a blue belt. You know what the fuck going on, it seems like. What if like you go on a date and she maybe knows the headliner, and you're fortunate enough, you're one of the fucking 4 opening acts or whatever. You do a little 5 minutes. She has no idea you're a comedian. You're sitting down, and then out of nowhere, everybody, bring it up before we bring out the headliner today. I know you guys are all here to see Chris D'Elia, what's that guy's name that you mentioned, Matt Fox or whatever. I know you guys are all here to see Matt Fox, but before this guy's really funny, I want you guys to put your hands together for Adron Duell. And then you just go up, and the chick you're with is like, huh? And then you go up, and I feel like it would be tight as shit if you fucking killed it. But how funny would it be if you bombed too? But like, even if, I don't know. So you think that's a good idea? I don't know.
See, bombing would be the funnier outcome for that.
If she stays with you after bombing, though, that's how you know she might be a keeper.
That's true. That's true.
She's the only one laughing.
That did so like now she's my wife, but like the when I was dating my wife at first, like I was bombing, and the only people laughing was like her and like 3 other people. And that was how I knew. I'm just like, yep, she thinks she at least likes my personality.
Yeah. You look so hot when you bomb.
Oh my god.
You have children? You want kids?
Later. Definitely not now. I can't afford kids.
Got it.
Yeah. You?
I'm all right. Like, I'm all right with never having kids, but I'm also all right with having a kid like next month. It's whatever.
Yeah. My thing, because she asked once, like, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment for having kids? And I'm like, well, no matter how
she
bad,
Chinese,
right? It's like no matter how bad you treat that kid, they're always going to remember you after you die. So like that's the real thing. You could treat them like a piece of shit. They're going to be a story they tell their kids. And it's like, yeah, even if I remembered as a piece of shit, at least I remembered that's
They do
that's
say
the return.
there's 2 times you die. There's the first time you die is when you physically die. The second time you die is the last time somebody ever thinks or says your name or like thinks of you.
Yeah. So basically, if you're a bad enough parent or a great parent, it's either or. They're not going to forget you for a while.
Yeah, or you could just make like a TikTok that does stupid numbers and you'll be remembered forever.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Dwell. It's been cool talking to you, man. I feel like we've covered a lot. Okay, and
Yeah, we did.
seem like a guy I'd want to keep in touch with to give the scoop on. And if I'm ever in the LA area, I'd hit you up, man. It's nice meeting you.
Yeah.
I feel like
Likewise,
there's
man.
still
Take
a
care.
lot to talk about. You too, man. You have a great day.
Bye.
See ya. Alright. We're done. We're done. I'm gonna give that a 5-star call rating. Alright, guys. It's 9:37. I gotta get my day fucking going, so I'll see y'all later, man.
When you tell me